when you're doing a period movie, you have to do it from every single layer because you never know when something is gonna happen on set. It's not a still image. We've talked about a lot of movies that we almost made since loving. Um, I was particularly excited about this one because the costumes are quite fun to do, and period costuming is really fun. And yeah, I was excited about doing it, and so I kept waiting for it to come together. To hand tool and hand make all of the biker vests. I think had it been a movie with like quadruple the budget and more people, we would have sort of half manufactured them. And I think it wouldn't have looked as real and realistic. It was hand done by some elves. Well, my first call was my ager dyer, for sure. I knew everything needed to look old and worn in and dusty and dirty. And yeah, that was one of my first calls. So when you see it in live person, however old and dirty it looks, it's going to look 30% less old and dirty when you see it in camera, when you see it on the big screen, because it's just what happens. Something happens in the process of filming, and it's farther away. Lighting, all the other things happening. So you have to go further than you think. And knowing that is kind of half the battle as far as, when you're working with an ager dyer and when you're working with everybody around you. And I know if you asked any of my crew, they'd probably say, she wants more dirt, because I do. I always want more dirt because it always looks like less in camera. The women's fashion's super fun and really interesting. And every woman kind of had their own way into the biker fashion and into the biker world, So some were, I'm just gonna borrow a leather jacket and a cut, which is the vest, and over my regular everyday peg pant, mock turtle, little sweater, and others were kind of more leaned into being part of a gang and into it. And I think they went a little bit harder, and they would, make their own hat. For example, one of our characters has like a name hat. And it's kind of in the fashion of police hats. And that was something, it's a biker hat, but it is inspired by police hats, which is the irony is like all over the place. Historically, there is actually the repurposing of uniforms, whether it's a cop uniform or a military uniform. We have so much fashion that takes from the uniform and repurposes it. And the biker gangs were doing that. They were taking the motorcycle jacket that was a cop jacket and they were repurposing it. And same with the cop caps, the helmet, the sort of visor caps, those became biker caps. And so it's taking an institution or a uniform and repurposing it and putting your own spin on it. And at the same time, kind of saying fuck you to that institution. Kathy has maintained who she is and not changed as much as you'd maybe think. And that's sort of the interesting sort of twist of her character, that she has this strong inner North Star about her that doesn't change that much when she sort of enters this world. And so we did that with her wardrobe. We didn't have her make some big, huge leap over the years. She's one of those characters that she knows who she is. She knew who she was then. She knows who she is throughout. I mean, there was both the individuality of the group, of each person in the group, and the togetherness of the group. Of course, the logo and the rockers in the back of the vests are part of that. Part of it is just, we took every single piece of denim that was in the movie and we overdyed it the same hue. So that's what Ader Dyer Troy did. He sort of took all all of the denim, whether we built it, which we did for Benny's, or we bought it, which we, or we rented it, depending on wherever it came from, we overdyed it. And that marries it together so it feels like it's coming from the same world. It's a subtle thing that, hopefully you'll never notice. It'll hopefully all look individual, but it kind of puts it all, in the same world. Because a lot of denim, when you do see it, it can read quite 80s, quite stonewashed, even if it's, broken in. And we didn't want anything to read out of our world and out of our time period.